From engineering fails to vehicles not working like they should, to boats not launching like they should, and more. Join me as I show you some heavy construction equipment fails gone wrong. Number 9. Pull. No, not you. Okay, our first scene, if you will, is a very typical situation. Mainly there's a truck that needs to be righted because it has fallen on its side. So some machines are brought in to right the fallen vehicle. Nothing wrong with that, right? At first, no, but you can tell that the machines are having a bit of a tough time trying to pull this truck up. But eventually they're able to do so, and that should have been the end of it. But because of the road they were on, the truck started to move on its side before the other machines were detached, and thus the machines fell on their sides. So tell me, what would you send to bring those things back up? Number 8. Quebec Bridge. Let's look at something a little different here, a pure engineering fail, okay? Bridges are a marvel of engineering, and the fact that they were made before many modern advances in engineering is a marvel in and of itself. That being said, there were many mistakes along the way, such as the early 1900s with the construction of the Quebec Bridge. This was the largest cantilever bridge in the world at the time, and for those who don't know what that means, it means that the middle section moves away. Anyway, during construction of the bridge in 1907, the middle part collapsed, and it took 55 men who were working on that section in the process. But the Canadian government felt that they had a chance to do it right the second time, and thus, they restarted construction on the bridge. But as irony or fate would have it, in 1916, the middle section once again gave away, endangering even more people because of this engineering fail. While tragic, it did serve a lesson in terms of engineering. There were many faults in the process and supervision of the bridge both times that led to the collapse, and the Canadians weren't quick to forget that. Number 7. Overload and overboard. Oh, you know that this is just asking for it, right? I mean, here we have a boat dangling precariously in the air, and as you know, something horrible is about to happen. But the question is what? As you can see, the boat is meant to be lowered into the water between two other boats that just so happen to be there. But as basic physics will tell you, when you're dangling a heavy object on a lever, the lever wants to go down, and that's exactly what happens. The crane machine loses its delicate balance, knocking it over and sending the boat crashing into one of the other boats before crashing into the river itself. Yeah, that happened, and it's almost too crazy to wonder how they thought this was going to go. Number 6, load her up. I promise you, this one isn't going to be like you think, because on this mine site, a man is trying to load a machine onto a truck. And for the record, they're doing it the right way. The truck is backed into a raised platform for the machine to slowly come up to. The driver has a spotter on the truck to help him make sure he's straight. And just as important, the driver is going slowly to back himself up. And as you're watching it go onto the truck, you're thinking it's going to topple over, right? But it doesn't, at first. Instead, the added weight of the machine and the apparent fact that the truck wasn't in park sends the truck flying forward, unable to stop until the cab of the truck literally turns on itself, and then the machine falls off the side. Guys, you had one job. Number 5, here we go again. With all that's going on in this list, especially with boats, I have to wonder why anyone would trust a lightweight machine to put a heavy boat into the water. I'm just saying. And if you're not convinced it's a danger, look at this scene. There's a machine lifting a boat to try and carefully place it into the water. Nothing wrong with that, right? Except that, like the other boat incident, the machine driver doesn't calculate how the weight of the boat is going to affect his machine, and so it too collapses, taking the boat down with him. The miracle here is that the person on the boat and the person near the machine weren't hurt when everything came tumbling down. Oh, and it also missed the boat, so there's that. Number 4, too soon. If you're not sure what's going on here, I'll explain. These machines are working together to lay down a massive piece of pipe into a trench, which is totally fine. But when doing this, you need to be in perfect sync with the other machines in order to keep everyone safe. But in the case of the lead machine, he lowered the pipe too quickly near the end, and thus the balance was disrupted and just about everyone got sent into the trench. though ironically doing this did get the pipe down faster. Number 3. WTH. I'm honestly not that sure what happened here. No, really, I mean, clearly this is a case of a machine not being equipped to handle what is going on with the lifting of this piece of metal. But for it to fail so completely and utterly, the video itself can only do justice for this, so let's just watch and enjoy the show. Number 2. You should have said timber! Logging is no joke. These trees are dangerous when they're cut down, and once they're cut down, they're equally as dangerous when they're being moved out of the way. In this case, a machine's trying to lug around a massive tree and lower it carefully, trunk first, onto a vehicle made to handle it. The driver does everything right in trying to get it put on carefully, but then the machine fails, and the tree lands on the vehicle the wrong way. Whoopsie! Number 1. Hindenburg. One last pure engineering fail, shall we? The Hindenburg was supposed to be the masterpiece of blimp design, but as we all know, it didn't end that way. In fact, it ended in a giant fireball. This is where the engineering fail comes in. Because of an embargo at the time, the blimp was outfitted to be filled with hydrogen, which is incredibly flammable. Not to mention, the components of the blimp could melt together and cause what is known as a thermite reaction. So when you put these engineering fails together, you get a fireball that's remembered decades later. And there you have it, a look at various engineering fails across many platforms and items. Which of these fails had you with your jaw on the floor? Did some of these make you laugh? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time on the channel.